Hello, welcome to Equation Search. This is one of my favorite activities that I use at the beginning of every year because kids spend the summer talking and texting and watching TV, but they don't spend a whole lot of time on mathematics, especially calculations. And this particular activity allows the kids to form equations from a given set of numbers, and reinforces number sense, number concepts, and also number properties. It's a nice way to begin the year because it's sort of like knocking the rust out. Kids know their number facts, but if they don't use them often, then they tend to get rusty and their recall is pretty slow. So this is a nice way to have students do a whole lot of problems without them really realizing it, and it's in a fun game type format. And let's show you right away how this thing works. And moving my cursor up here to the top row, you'll see some numbers 9, 3, and 6. And I would ask the kids circle those numbers, put a loop around them, and form an equation. And there's a couple of these you could do. You could say 9 minus 3 equals 6, or you could make an addition problem out of it where 9 equals 3 plus 6. Either one's fine. And they can begin making a tally up on the top area of the paper here, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then cross over the fifth one, so they can keep a record of how they're doing. And when I get kids to work on this after they understand the process, then after a few minutes I'll ask how many of you have 5 or how many of you have 10, and hands will go up and kids will look around the room. And it's nice to get that little competition going. It encourages them to work on this. And I wander around and I make a few comments telling them, hey, nice job. Or if someone is stuck, I might point out 1 or 2 to get them back on track again. Here's the page that we were just looking at, and I've circled a few of these to give you an idea of the type of thing you can look for here. And top row, you can see a simple addition. Just below that, a simple multiplication, both horizontal. And you notice also that you can do vertical and diagonal in either direction, and you can have addition and subtraction as you wish. You need to have at least 3 numbers to make an equation, although a lot of kids like to try to find 4 and 5. And that's kind of a game and a challenge to them also, especially some of the boys. They get very competitive on here. Some of them try to find a way to use all the numbers in one row or in one column. This particular grid here has 11 numbers across and 12 numbers down, although you can make one of any size that you want. And speaking of making these, it's a simple matter, and there are 3 or 4 different ways. I made this one on a computer on a word processing program where I just set the tab key and made the font size 24. Another way you could use a computer is to set it up in a spreadsheet, say a Microsoft Excel spreadsheet, and you get an automatic grid that way, and you can size the spacing as well as the font size. A third way, which is very simple, you can do this with pen or pencil, is just get a piece of grid paper, 1/2 inch or 3/4 inch grid probably works pretty well, and set a blank sheet of paper on top and just start writing some numbers in the grids. And it almost doesn't matter what numbers you pick as long as they're not really very large, because equations will just naturally show up. If I do this as a homework assignment, generally I require that kids get at least 50 to get full credit. And if you're looking for the magic 2 words, extra credit, you can ask that they get 60 or 75 and give them an extra point or 2 for homework. And that's a real nice motivational factor. So give this a try, and I'm sure you'll enjoy it as much as I do, and your kids will probably get a real bang out of it as well. Good hunting for equations. This is Bill Lombard once more with a nice activity for you.